Hi, fans of high-quality entertainment. So this video is called 20 Songs from My Childhood That I Still Love Today. So from 1958, I was born February 28th, 1958, to February 28th, 1971. But I think, yeah, it's just going up to 1970. And they're in chronological order from when the song was released, but some of them I might have heard a few years later. But all of these are from the 60s, and maybe a handful from 1970. And as you can see here, that's me as a baby. Wasn't I cute? Anyway, that's not my mom. That is, I believe, a neighbor that's holding me. And I've got a few to show you in case you haven't seen these before. I have posted some of these in my community at some point. That's me before I was gluten-free. Yeah, I was born in North Bay, Ontario. That's me again, already trying to be funny and failing. So we moved from North Bay, Ontario, which I don't remember at all, to Winnipeg, Manitoba, where the winters were pretty cold and lots of snow. That's my very first dog, Spot. And what's kind of cool, and that's my sister Janet behind me and my brother Don, and then one of my either my brother Bob or my sister Sharon on the left. That is the very television that I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. I named the dog Spot. And there's me with my very first and last drum. Yeah, there's my brother Don standing up there, my sister Janet on the right, and my other brother Bob on the left. I was such a sweet kid. What happened to me? And I am third from the left with cousins and my brother Bob with the glasses and my other brother Don on the right hand side of me. My sister Janet on the far right. Don't worry, we're going to get into the songs. Just be patient. A few more photos here. So that's my two older brothers, Don on the left, who was 5 years older than me, and my brother Bob, who is 6 years older than me. And as you can see, he had a cast on his arm. And that's still in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Another picture of me with my brothers. My sister on the right, Janet, she sadly passed away in the 90s. And my brother Don on the left. Winnipeg, Manitoba still. Everybody's seen that picture. So I think that's 1965 when we had just moved to Trenton, Ontario. And actually, the first street we lived on is just a couple blocks away from where I live now. Richard Street. Another one from Richard Street, 1960, probably 1965 or 1966. With my mom. Washing my feet. I must have been outside, playing in the dirt. And that's when we moved to Queen Street in Trenton, Ontario. So that would be maybe about 1968, 1969. And that's my nephew John in the middle with me and my mom. And that's me with freckles. So that's probably 1968 or so. Okay, let's get into the songs. So there, there's lots of songs from my childhood years before I became a teenager that I absolutely loved, and some of them were from my dad's record collection. He listened to old country and were my brother's records or whatever. Here they go. The first 10, and they're not in order, they're just in order of date. So yeah, Hank Snow, I've Been Everywhere from my dad's record collection, and I probably first heard that around 1965. And I just loved that song. It was so catchy and it was fast. In My Room, that was the Beach Boys, the greatest hits that was released just after Pet Sounds. The Beach Boys, the best of the Beach Boys, Volume 2, I believe. And I just connected with, like, I liked the Beach Boys, all of the songs, but In My Room, because it was such a sad song, it was like, wow, at the time I was thinking, kind of surprised, that's actually a sad song. I can relate to that. Who couldn't, right? And then from my dad's collection, Roger Miller, I liked a lot of his comedy songs. You Can't Roller Skate in a Buffalo Herd and Chug a Lug and Dang Me. But I think Chug a Lug at the time was my favorite. Orange Blossom Special. Yeah, my dad had some Johnny Cash albums, and even though that was mainly an instrumental, I just really loved it. And like I said, I love all of these songs today. I love the Monkees, and probably my favorite song from the debut album was Sweet Young Thing. And it was kind of almost like a hard rock song. Pictures of Lily, and that was from the Canadian version of the Who on tour. No, the Who Magic Bus. That's it. And that was, I believe, the final song on the album. I didn't understand the storyline of the song because I was just a kid, but I just always loved that song. And then Autumn Almanac, I got the Kinks. It was a double album from, I think, 1970. So this was later, right? Double album. I forget the name of it, but it was just a plain black album, 2 records with all of their hits and some deep cuts. And my favorite song was Autumn Almanac. 2000 Light Years from Home, that's when I got the Through the Past Darkly compilation. And I loved, of course, all of the songs on that. And that is still possibly my favorite Rolling Stones song. Stay Away Joe, that was on the Canadian compilation Almost in Love. And it was the final song. And it's funny, that's my first favorite Elvis Presley song, even though it's not the greatest, right? But at the time, I just found it really catchy and fast-paced and really loved it. And then Dream a Little Dream of Me from 1968 from Cass Elliott's self-titled first solo album. I just love her vocals. I actually love the whole album and hoping to get it on CD someday. Yeah, my first CCR album was Bio Country. Loved it, except for Graveyard Train, which still isn't one of my favorites. But I love Keep On Chooglin'. And I used to be, I think I was the first air guitarist with that song. I just love John Fogerty's guitar work on that and Stu's bass, and everything about the song. And then Led Zeppelin, How Many More Times? Definitely in my top 5 Led Zeppelin songs. Mr. Sun, Mr. Moon, I had the 45 of that. Paul Revere and the Raiders, 1969. Sick'em Pigs, I still love that album. Hallelujah from 1969. I've got it in my CD collection. And in that song, excuse me, I got a bit of a rough voice here. In that song, it's a kind of against the police department in LA, and they even say the police station's number in the song. Can't Find My Way Home from the first and only album by Blind Faith. Always love that song. Good Shepherd from Volunteers, 1969. Still got that. See, the great rock and title song from their 1969 album, which I still have. Hang On to Your Life from the Guess Who's Share the Land. And that's when I realized, when I bought Share the Land, I think it was one of my first records that I owned, I realized they're Canadian, and I was so proud to know that. And then No Matter What by Badfinger really reminded me, of course, of the Beatles. And Into the Sun, big fan of Grand Funk Railroad in 1970, and it's still, Grand Funk Live album is still my all-time favorite live album. And once again, I played a lot of air guitar to that song. And that is it. That's my little journey. And of course, there's other songs, but these were the ones that I came up with. And yeah, let me know which of these you also love or you've never heard, and looking forward to your comments below. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Please remember to like the video. Bye.